Everybody has a mom at some point or another. Maybe your mother is still alive. Maybe she's not. That's a cheery way to start an episode. But today, we're going to take a look at two bizarre stories involving moms. First off, what would you do if a stranger kept showing up at your house asking, "Where's your mom?" You're like, well, I would just run them off the property with a pitchfork. But what if it's more complicated than that? And then we take a look at the story of a young woman living at home with her mother, and everything is going good. A lot of girls have problems with their moms, but not this family. However, that all might be changing because this young woman's mother has met a new man who's been dead for decades. Today on Dead Rabbit Radio.
Actually, I'm a lot freaked out.
Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Dead Rabbit Radio. I'm your host, Jason Carpenter. I'm having a great day. I hope you guys are having a great day too. I hope you guys are having lots of fun, and I hope you guys have some awesome plans for the weekend. I might go see that new movie, Bring Them Back, something like that. It's from the people who did Talk to Me. I might go see that, but I'll be honest, the trailer looked too scary. So I don't know if I'll see it in the theater. I'll see how many other people are buying tickets. I'll see if I'll be sitting alone in the theater like I was for In a Violent Nature. If no one else is going, neither will I. But if it's a packed theater, then I'll be there this weekend. I hope you guys have less tenuous plans than that. But someone who always has everything planned out, someone who has tons of friends to go to the movies with, everyone get on your feet and give it up for one of our legacy Patreon supporters, Propeller. Woohoo, yeah, wee! Yeah, he's all spinning around. He's all super dizzy, spinning his way into Dead Rabbit Radio Command. Propeller has been a long time Patreon of Dead Rabbit Radio. That is why he is going to be our captain, our pilot this episode. If you guys can't support the show financially through the Patreon or the merch store, I totally understand, I really do. Just help spread the word about Dead Rabbit Radio. That helps out so much. Tell your friends, tell your family, tell everyone you know. Dead Rabbit Radio is your favorite paranormal show. That is how you can help the show grow. Also, a last reminder, May 30th, 2025 at 7 p.m. is going to be Dead Rabbit Radio Movie Night, where we'll be watching a bunch of short films online and having a lot of fun. We've done a couple of these. It's always a blast. If you want to get in on the Dead Rabbit Radio Movie Night, you need to be a member of the Patreon, either a paid member or a free member. We do have a free tier now that even if you're a free member, you can see that link to join us. So I hope to see you guys there. Also, one last reminder, June 1st is our last Dead Rabbit Radio live episode that we do on Sundays, 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. So if you want to join us for that, that'll be a lot of fun as well. We've been doing that for a couple of years. We're phasing it out due to technical problems, but I hope to see you guys there. We'll figure out something else to do, but it'll be a while before we have anything to replace that. Okay, Propeller, let's go ahead and get this party started. I'm going to screw you on. He's like, what, you're going to screw me? Let me finish my sentences before you get offended. I'm going to very slowly and sensually, Propeller, screw you on to the bunny biplane. Is this a vehicle? I don't know. I've kind of lost track of the new ones. Everyone climb on board the bunny biplane as Propeller spins around and around and takes us out of Dead Rabbit Radio Command. We're going to fly all the way out to a house in Anywhere, USA. Is that a cat? Did a cat jump on your lap? No, it's the sound of a biplane. I'll add some machine gun effects. That might help it. We're just blowing up random houses. They're like, what do we do to you? We're like, I just on the way to a story. We wanted to fire off these brand new guns that we got. Quick update, though, before we get out there. If you've been paying attention to the drama happening this week at Dead Rabbit Radio, I recently did an episode about PlayStation video games. Are they teleporting around the planet? We covered one about a dude in Seattle, Washington, who went out to his car one day and popping out of the CD player in his car, which he never uses. He never uses a CD player. was a copy of Borderlands 2 for the PlayStation 4. He's like, what? I don't own a PlayStation 4. I've never used a CD drive before. And his car was acting all weird electrically. He's all... As the game was coming out, we've covered these stories before about PlayStation games, and it only seems to be PlayStation games teleporting around the planet. Well, Spot the Spy, one of the listeners of Dead Rabbit Radio, commented after that episode and said there is no Borderlands 2 for the PlayStation 4. That disc does not exist. He goes, there's a Borderlands 2 for the PS3. For the PS4, there is the Borderlands Collection, which does have Borderlands 2 on it. It just doesn't say it on the disc so much. It's just Borderlands Collection. So then we started thinking, wow, if this guy actually got a copy of Borderlands 2 for the PlayStation 4, which should not exist in our timeline, then this might be proof. An artifact from another dimension. How amazing would that be? So I reached out to the guy who posted this story online. He goes by the name Sir Quest Giver. And I asked him, I go, hey man, I read your story the other day. I didn't say it was for a podcast or anything like that. He just thought I was some weirdo emailing him. I go, hey man, I read your story. Do you have a photo of that disc? And he goes, oh yeah, actually I still have it somewhere around here. And he starts digging for it. And he messaged me back about 5 hours later and he goes, I can't find it anywhere. He didn't pause. He didn't make these long pauses in it the way that I talk to be dramatic. And I start thinking, oh, dude, what if it teleported again? What if this proof, if it really is a Borderlands 2 disc for the PlayStation 4, I was like, wow, maybe it teleported back to its home dimension. You're like, well, Jason, maybe the guy made it up. But see, I had faith in Sir Quest Giver. But I was thinking, well, maybe it went back to where it's from. And then he messaged me back. I said, hey, I have a podcast and all that stuff. I was looking to see if this disc existed, because it could be proof of alternate worlds. He messaged me back. He goes, oh, I found it. I found it now. And he goes, it is not Borderlands 2 for the PlayStation 4. It is, in fact, the Borderlands Collection for the PlayStation 4. And he sent me a photograph of it. So this is what this is all about, right? The research. Thank you so much to Sir Quest Giver. Thank you so much to Spot the Spy. The story itself is still weird. He never owned the disc before. It popped up in his car, in his CD player of all places. And we can't explain that. Why was it causing the electrical system to malfunction in the car? What was it doing there in the first place? However, it's not actually Borderlands 2 for the PS4. That would have been monumental. That would have been him going on like a speaking tour, talking to scientists, and they'll be like, but sir, that doesn't make sense. And he's like, make sense of this. And he's holding up a disc. And was like, well, I guess that explains it. But it is still a weird story, but it would have been even weirder had it been a game that doesn't exist in our reality. But anyways, thank you so much. I wanted to give you guys the update for that. Thank you so much, Sir Quest Giver. Thank you so much, Spot the Spy, for taking us down that path. Really, really appreciate it. I love that story. I think I love it even more now. Because if he hadn't been able to find the disc, we always could have thought, well, it's a possibility he just made it up. But no, it really happened. But when he couldn't find the disc in the interim, I was like, oh, maybe this is proof. The ultimate Berenstein treasure, but it's just a disc. That did appear where it shouldn't have been, so the story itself is weird. Anyways, Propeller, we're flying out to this house in Anywhere, USA. We're about to take a look at a story, fairly short story, but odd. I really can't think of another story we've covered like this. A couple years ago is when this story takes place. We're headed over to this house. We're about to meet 3 members of this family. We're going to have Casey. It's not a real name. It's the name we're giving her. Casey, she's in her brother's bedroom. The brother we will call Alex. So Casey and Alex. And then their mother, Diana, again a name we're giving her, is not home. Casey and Alex, they're alone in the house. They're just hanging out in Alex's room, chatting. Casual conversation, right? And when all of a sudden, Casey hears a voice say, hey. And she pauses. Kind of catches her off guard. Because she's sitting about 7 feet away from her brother. They're not super close. Physically, emotionally they might be, but they're not physically close. And it sounded like it was coming from right next to her. And it didn't sound like her brother. It sounded like a third party say, hey. And she froze when she heard this. She actually froze and she turns to the left. Because that's where she heard it from. There's no one there. She knew no one was there. She clearly heard the voice. Immediately after that, Casey turns her head to the left right after she heard that. Immediately after she turns her head, she hears the voice speak again. But this time it's slightly louder. Where's Diana? Casey is maybe terrified's probably not the right word, but uneasy, scared. You're hearing a voice. You're looking in that direction. There's nobody there. So she just silently gets up without a word. She gets up out of her chair and she walks over to where Alex is at on the bed and sits down next to him. And that silence lingers in the room. Alex is sitting next to Casey. Casey's sitting next to Alex. They're both on this bed. Casey doesn't really know what to say. And that is when Alex turned to Casey and said, you heard that, right? So they both heard the voice. Neither of them wanted to say it at first, but they both heard a voice say, hey, where's Diana? Something's asking for their mom. And since then, Alex has told Casey, hey, remember that time we were up in the bedroom and we heard that weird voice? Yeah, I do remember that. I'll probably never forget about it. Alex said that since then, there have been many, many times where he will be in the house, in a room by himself, kitchen, bathroom, bedroom, garage, wherever. He'll just be in a room doing something, and he will hear that voice again. Where's Diana? Pulling his car into the driveway, shut off the engine. Where's Diana? Brushing his teeth. Where's Diana? Making breakfast. You're like, okay, Jason, we get it. I'm naming every room in the house like it's a game of Clue. Where's Diana? This was posted online by someone using the username Katiever. On the one hand, it's a simple story. We've had tons of stories of ghosts, obviously. We're a paranormal podcast. And correct me if I'm wrong, though. Correct me if I'm wrong on this, because I could be. I've done a lot of shows. I'm trying to think of another time where a ghost, which I mean, listen, I don't know how I would classify this. Originally, I was thinking it was like a mimic, but they don't recognize the voice. And it's not really impersonating the mother. So it could be a ghost, or it could be some sort of bizarre time slip, like an alternate reality, but it's possible, right? I mean, that's the thing. It could be. I don't know, but I can't remember a time where a particular entity was asking somebody about a third party. You know what I mean? Like this ghost, for lack of a better term, is asking the kids, where's mom at? And I can't really think of another story where we've come across that. And the thing is, the reason why I think this is kind of creepy is one, first off, it's an unseen entity from beyond the veil. That's creepy in and of itself. But two, it's asking the kids where their mom is. There's something just kind of unnerving about that anyways. Imagine two kids were walking down the street and a guy, he's a well-dressed man. He's not some hobo who fell off a bus. He's a businessman who fell off the bus. He's dusting the gravel off of his suit and he looks at the kids and says, where's your mom? Right? I mean, like that, you're like, oh yeah, just another trip that way. That's pretty scary. But it's not just that. This guy knows the name of the mom, and it's still just asking, where's mom? Now you go, Jason, well, maybe this entity, this ghost or whatever it is, doesn't have ill intent towards the kids. Maybe it just wants to see the mom. This is still creepy, though. I'm not saying the ghost is a pervert. But it kind of is. Actually, now that I think about it, it's invisible and it wants to know where the mom's at. Maybe it has this weird MILF fetish. But yeah, it's super bizarre. I can't think of a time where a ghost is insistent or whatever this is. The reason why I say time slip, because it's possible that this message is coming through from a different time, where literally someone totally innocently is asking, hey, where's Diana? And in their timeline, they're like, well, she's not here. She went to go pick up the kids from the police station. Apparently a businessman rolled off a bus and was harassing them. Oh, okay. And that message has kind of got stuck in the time stream for whatever reason. It could be totally innocuous like that. But it could actually be this ghost wondering, where's mom? Not even my mom, right? It's where's your mom? It's naming the mom. If the voice was saying, where's mom, that would be kind of creepy for a different reason, because you're like, wait, what? Like, does mom have a kid that died that we don't know about? And this is the ghost. Casper's finally showing up and is like, oh, I want to give mom a hug, and I want to punch her in the face for not giving me that penicillin when I needed it most. Weird. It would definitely put you on edge. Something's looking for your mom all the time. It's very interesting, too, that only Alex hears it since then. Casey heard it the first time, but since then, Alex says he's heard it multiple times, asking, where's Diana? Where's Diana? And I wonder if they've ever mentioned this to the mom. This is a phenomenon that I've kind of figured out doing this show. I never really thought about it before. There's a lot of times people experience haunting activity in a house and they don't share it with anyone else. We've covered a ton of stories like that, and a lot of times towards the end of the story, they find out that other people are also experiencing hauntings, and they're not telling anyone else. So it's possible every so often the mom hears her own name being called. She's in a room all alone, and she hears, Diana. And it's very unnerving to her, but she doesn't want to tell her kids. She doesn't want to freak them out. Be interesting to find that out. Maybe I'll shoot him an email. You're like, Jason, yes, maybe you should contact the people you cover from time to time to get some extra info. Yeah, it probably would work out better. You know, one of the reasons why I don't generally email people while I'm doing a show, like I'm doing a show on them, is because I had one really, really bad experience early on in this show, and I didn't email the guy. He just found the episode. You're like, Jason, is it an episode where you weren't investigating the paranormal? Was it one of the episodes where you found a schizophrenic rambling online and decided to read it and laugh the whole episode? And then that guy found out about it and started freaking out? Yeah, it was one of those episodes, honestly. I did this episode where the thing is, I would love to tell you guys the full story. The reason why I don't, not because I'm worried about legal or even physical repercussions, because I just don't I try not to give trolls energy. But the worst troll, I should say, was this guy. I did this story, and it was about a guy who had this insane, it was like clinically insane story. And it involved his hometown. It was one of those stories where, like, he said it was here, and me and my buddy, some of you guys might be able to figure it out. He goes, we were here, and me and my buddy were sitting on this hill, in this town, on this street, and I saw this insane thing happen. And I covered it. I thought it was hilarious, right? I was like, this guy's either mentally insane or on a bunch of drugs or both. I don't know. But what if it's real? It was one of those types of episodes, right? I just found some Reddit post, and I was talking about it. And then, like, maybe a week or two later, I was getting ready to take my break from the show. Actually, the break had already started, and I am 100% like off when the break is on. I don't really do anything Dead Rabbit Radio related. And I wake up, and there's an Instagram message from this guy. And he says, you're like, maybe you should stop laughing. He might come after you. Maybe. But yeah, this was like the one time that I got trolled to the point where I was like, oh my God, why do I do this show? Anyways, I wake up, it's like 4 a.m. I get this Instagram message. He goes, you've ruined my life. You've ruined my life. And I was like, oh, I wonder who this is from. I mean, he could be one of the thousands of people that I have ruined their lives. He goes, you ruined my life. The mayor's after me. The mayor's after me because you brought shame to my town. You took because I did say the name of the town and the state in the title of the episode. I thought it was crazy. He goes, the mayor's after me now. Because I posted the story online, He says that I brought shame to this town, and so you've brought shame to this town. Basically, he said I needed to post an apology. Now, I'm like a day or two into my break when this happens, so, like, I'm not even thinking about getting to the mic. However, I looked at that and I go, well, you know, the mayor's after him. This is an emergency. After all, they probably have the fire department chasing him down, spraying him with hoses, letting the Dalmatian bite his butt. I read that message and I go, well, no skin off my back, right? I could easily record a segment. I wasn't going to take the episode down, but I go, I could record a little segment at the beginning or the end of that episode. I could edit it in and say, hey, just to let you know, I got a message from the guy who this story is from, and he said, mayor is after him. That's the problem. It's almost giving me more ammunition. But I thought, you know what? No skin off my teeth. I could easily record something and go, this guy's contacting me about this story. He thinks it's controversial. He thinks that, it's causing trouble at his home. I might have even changed the title of the episode so it didn't have the city and the state in the episode. Right? Small fixes. I wasn't going to take the episode down, but I would have added something saying, just to let you know I got contacted by this guy. And he says the mayor's after him. That's even more confusing. It's making you believe it even more. Well, anyways, again, I was just happened to be up at 4 a.m. and I looked at my phone and I saw that he sent this message and I was like, you know what? I'm on break, but I'll do this guy a solid, right? I did get a good chuckle off of his story. I will add something to the episode, kind of explaining what's going on. I went back to sleep. I go, I'll do it, 7, 8 a.m. when I wake up to the day. So I go, I'll take care of it. Even though I'm on my break, I'll take care of it. I wake back up at 7 or 8. I didn't respond to him either. I didn't respond to him. I read it. I go, I'll take care of it later. I wake up 7, 8, and he sent me a list of demands saying, 1, he's talking to me. He goes, you've brought shame to the city. The mayor's after me still. It's been 3 hours. He's not a very efficient mayor. Use the police department to do that. He said, you've brought shame to my city. These are the things you must do. 1, you must record like a full episode of me just apologizing. And I read that first one and I go, oh yeah, no, I'm not doing nothing. I'm not doing nothing. And then he goes, I think I was supposed to interview him and put him on the show. And he had this like list of demands I was supposed to write a letter to the mayor or something like that. And I go, I'm not doing any of that. Like, again, if he had just kept his mouth shut, I would have added something to the beginning to the end of the episode. And I don't even know what I would have added, right? If I remember correctly, he didn't come out and say the story never happened. I think it didn't happen. I think it was a drug-fueled trip or some sort of like mental health issue. I didn't actually think that this happened. You're really scratching your head like, what episode could it be? But yeah, no, and I remember he gave me a list of demands that I was supposed to do, and I just never responded to him. And I always thought, I go, if he had just not emailed me back, emailed me the first time, I would have added something to the beginning and the end of the episode. I might have taken the name and the state off of the city and the state off of the title. It would have been harder for the mayor and his goons to find the episode. But anyways, yeah, and he started after that, so I never responded. I was like, he should have just kept his mouth shut. I would have added something to it, but you can't send me a list of demands. I'm not going to interview. What would we talk about? The only thing I want to talk about has the mayor caught you yet. That's the only thing I want to talk about. How am I supposed to interview this guy? But enough of troll talk. I think right now, if I started on the second story, we'd have just enough time to cover it. So, Propeller, let's go ahead and install you on the world-famous Carpenter copter. Everyone climb on board as Propeller lifts us off of the earth and flies us all the way out to Mama's house. We're flying all the way out to Mama's house. This is a very recent story. We're talking end of 2024, beginning of 2025. And we get to Mom's house and we walk in. We invite ourselves in. And we're starving. We're like, oh, dude, we're so hungry. Oh, man, we're so hungry. The mayor's been chasing us all day long. We're out of energy. We need a place to sit down. And we're about to meet this mom. Let's call her Monica. Monica's like, come on in, everybody. All of y'all, come on, sit down at this table. I just made some delicious food for you. We're like, oh, dude, it's going to be dope. She's got fried chicken. She's got tuna casserole. She's got burgers and fries. And for you vegans out there, she has nothing. She has nothing at all. You can go out in the backyard and pick some blueberries. No, she has a nice leafy big giant salad for you with a bunch of like lettuce and spinach in it and stuff. She's all, dressing's in the fridge, guys. Dig in. We're eating it up, dude. It's a good meal. And we're like, wow, Monica, where did you learn to cook like this? And she goes, Clarence taught me. We're like, oh, it must be a local chef. A friend of hers, perhaps, I say, as I reach for my fourth hamburger, being chased by the mayor, who happens to be Mayor McCheese. Sure makes me crave extra hamburgers. I'm like, who's Clarence? Is that like your friend or your boyfriend? And she goes, well, it's kind of hard to explain. Technically, he's not my boyfriend, but he is inside of me every night. We're like, what? Oh, that's kind of gross. You don't have to reveal that much information. She says, in fact, Clarence is inside of me right now. We're looking at her. We're like, oh, wait. Is this food safe to eat? Is it full of hallucinogens? What do you mean he's in you right now? And that's when she tells us the story of Clarence. Well, actually, now that I'm looking over at my notes, she never once claims he was inside of her. I thought she was possessed by him at some point. But anyways, let's go ahead and start the story. After I eat one more hamburger. Back in late 2024, Monica started talking to the spirit named Clarence. And this wasn't her first time really like looking into the paranormal, but this was the first time that her daughter, who we will call Janet, 18 years old, really is concerned for her mother's well-being. Because her mom has toyed around with paranormal beliefs, like many of us, right? We've thought about it. Some of us read a lot of books on it. Some of us practice them, and it's totally fine. But Janet's starting to notice that Monica's taken a little overboard ever since she met Clarence. Clarence is the name that Monica gave this entity that talks to her. And at first, it was just, I mean, listen, it'd be a little odd. Anyway, I was going to say, no big deal, because I know there's mediums who listen to this show. But to go from 0 to 60, if you know a medium, I know a couple mediums just from doing the show, right? I meet them, I run into them at ghost conferences and so on and so forth. Nice people, right? I got nothing against them. I'm not going to say they're nuts. But imagine you're living with someone and, they read books about the Bermuda Triangle and they like to listen to spooky podcasts. So they start talking about the occult and going to the crystal store and all that stuff. You're kind of really like, oh, that's cool. I'm glad they have a hobby. But then imagine that they start saying that they're speaking to their dead husband from a past life. And that this person is giving them the answers that they've been seeking this entire time. On the one hand, you may go, oh, wow, this paranormal stuff is real. My mom is speaking to a ghost. But on the other hand, I think you would be concerned, especially because of the ramp up. You'd be like, wow, this is weird. It kind of came out of nowhere. She's always had a love of the paranormal, but now it's actually interacting with her on a daily basis. First off, Monica is using a spirit pendulum, like a little string with a little crystal on it, and she would ask simple questions like, is my hair blonde? And depending on which way the crystal would wiggle, it would give her the answer yes or no. And that's an easy one, right? Because you already know the answer to it, so it's a way to test it. But then she actually starts getting life advice from him, and all of this stuff really ramps up after Monica's mom dies. Tragic. Horrible, right? That happened in August, September 2024, around there. This is when she really goes overboard. I think even if you were a medium, this is where the story would be like, nah, that's not cool. She probably shouldn't be doing that stuff. Because at this point, she begins to use hallucinogenic substances, like magic mushrooms or DMT, not to expand her consciousness, but to focus more clearly on Clarence. She's using these hallucinogenic drugs to speak to the spirit on a more elevated level. And here's the thing. She thinks that this is a long dead husband from a past life. But we don't know. Janet definitely doesn't know. Is this actually that dude? And again, that would open up a whole bunch of questions. Just because he was your husband in a past life, does that mean you should implicitly trust him in this one? That'd be question one. Question two is, what if that's not who Clarence really is? What if he is a demonic entity? Who knows? Who knows? You don't know. Ghosts and spirits can be all over the D&D alignment chart. But demons are exclusively chaotic evil. That's just where they're at. So you can have a spirit that's evil. You can have a ghost that's sinister. But you can have a really cool spirit, a really cool ghost, and all that stuff. But demons are always in that chaotic evil camp. So it is something to be on the lookout for when you're dealing with this stuff. Especially when you're channeling. Well, not channeling is not the right word. That's where the ghost speaks through you. But especially when you're trying to communicate with these spirits, you just don't know who it is. Really, my advice when you're contacting spirits is my same advice if you're talking to people online. You really have to know who you're talking to. Because there's way more scam artists out there than there are you honestly punching a wrong number on your phone and you get a legit good guy on the other end. It does happen, but it's very rare. Some guy messages you out of the blue for whatever reason. That might be a friendship. That might be the start of an awesome journey with that person. But most of the time it's a scammer, right? Most of the times it's a scammer or a creep or a stalker or whatever. Same thing with the world of spirits. You have to be super cautious. So what happens is Monica begins doing these hallucinogens. And yeah, I was right. Okay, I was right. Monica begins doing these hallucinogens. And then she starts to tell Janet, who's living with her. So her 18-year-old daughter is living with her. She's the one who posted this online. And she's like, I don't know what to do. My mom is going crazy. Because Janet's just living with her mom. And then all of a sudden, mom says, oh, ever since I started tripping out, ever since I started eating these magic mushrooms, Clarence is inside of me now. He's inside of me. I don't have to use the pendulum anymore. I don't have to ask yes or no questions. He actually tells me things in my brain. He's part of me, Janet. He's part of this family. Meet your new stepdad. Blah! Shooting ectoplasm out everywhere. Monica at this point is saying that she's having dreams that Clarence is in. He's now part of her subconscious. And Monica loves that. This is what Monica wanted. She sees him in her dreams. Then, I feel bad for Janet, honestly. I mean, as much as I'm kind of joking around about stuff, imagine this. Your mom is talking about, oh yeah, no, Clarence, he's inside of me all the time. And when I fall asleep, I dream about him. Let me tell you about the dream last night. Janet goes, yeah, my mom's now talking about Clarence is inside of her during the day. When she's sleeping, she's dreaming about him. And now my mom is going around telling people, she's not shy about this, she's going around telling people that with Clarence inside of her, she now has the ability to heal other humans simply by touching them. Which would be cool if it was true, right? I mean, I don't know. I don't know if that part actually works. I'm all cutting myself. I was like, oh, Monica, test your healing powers on me. Zoop. All the wounds get healed up. I mean, I'd be a believer. All bowing down before Clarence. Oh, Clarence. Oh, great one. Master of the magic mushrooms. But it would be also embarrassing and concerning. You're hanging out with your mom, and she's like walking up to people who are sick. There's some sick guy sitting on the bench, and Monica's like, oh, old man. You have emphysema, don't you? And he's like, how could you tell? There's a bunch of phlegm on the ground. He's holding a bloody napkin. She goes, let me touch you. I will heal you. And she goes, you've been healed. Don't go to a doctor. Don't get that checked out. Just go do a marathon. Trust me, you'll be able to run 26 miles. Janet goes, all mom talks about is Clarence. Every conversation that happens nowadays, doesn't matter what it is, she can insert Clarence into that story. And Monica's aware that she's doing this. She will actually start off something like you're talking about, hey, there's a new pizza joint in town. Monica will say, listen, I know you guys are sick and tired of hearing about Clarence, but did you know Clarence loves Domino's Pizza? It's his favorite. It's his favorite. It's been around since the 1700s, right? Oh, yeah. Clarence just told me Domino's Pizza started in old-time Italy. And she would just start talking about Clarence, and then the subject would change and be like, oh, AutoZone, huh? You're going to go get a new manifold? Well, I know you guys hate hearing about Clarence, but Clarence can fold space-time and travel through the universe. You're like, Mom, shut up. It's funny because when Janet posted this, it is both out of expiration. Is that the word? Exasperation? Their expiration may be on the table. We'll get to that in a second. But out of exasperation, like a need to vent over how irritating all of this is, but also concern. She's really, really afraid of what her mother is actually contacting. And even if it is just the spirit, even if it is a ghost from a past life, it's taking over this life. It's ruining Janet and Monica's relationship. And also maybe ruining Monica's life, period. Janet goes, listen, my mom has had a lot of struggles in her life. She has. This is not typical for her. She hasn't been possessed before, but, she's been homeless. She's spent a period of time homeless. She's been in some abusive relationships. She's struggled with addiction. And that last one really tracks, right? Because you can get addicted to good things, too. You can get addicted to reading. You can get addicted to talking to spirits. You can get addicted to learning about the paranormal. You can become obsessed with it. But, if you go too far, you do open yourself up to these things. She said, my mom had those struggles until I was 12. When I turned 12, my mom seemed to be able to turn it around and she got her life together and everything's been pretty good for the past 6 years. Now we're dealing with this whole Clarence situation and I don't know what to do. Janet writes, quote, I feel like this entity, possibly tricking her into a false sense of security so it can have control over her, is taking all of that away, all that progress she made battling addiction and having a stable life. Is taking all of that away, and it's genuinely upsetting and worrisome to me, unquote. To make it even more difficult, Janet goes, listen, like I said, my life was pretty chaotic till the age of 12. My mom was always overprotective of me. Bad situation, you kind of have to be overprotective. But she goes, the problem with it is that I have no life skills. I'm 18 years old. I don't know how to drive a car. I don't know how to write checks. I don't know. Nobody does that anymore, but I don't know how to handle the basic things that someone would need if they wanted to move out, because that's where Janet's at right now. She doesn't want to be home because all Mom is talking about is Clarence. And it's worrisome, but also aggravating. Janet says there is a bit of light at the end of the tunnel for her right now. She goes, I recently started dating this guy who's been really supportive of me during this time. He knows what I'm going through with my mom, and he's been really cool with that. In fact, I haven't been spending as much time at home as I used to because I'm over at his place. I think the mayor finally caught up to that guy. That was the police coming after him. Janet goes, I'm staying at my boyfriend's house a lot. I'm not at home as much as I used to be. It used to be 100%, right? Because I lived there and I couldn't go anywhere else. She goes, so I feel grateful for that I have this boyfriend, but my concern is still for my mom. I might be less irritated listening to my mom talk about Clarence all the time, but I'm still worried about her. And she really has two concerns. One, is Clarence a demon? And two, has some sort of gateway possibly opened up in this household, or maybe even within her own mother, that is just going to allow, whether it's a demon or a ghost, because ghosts can possess people too. Or can they? I think we did an episode on that. I'll see if I can find that. But I'm pretty sure we kind of were able to suss that out, that, yeah, sometimes it is possible. She goes, is there some sort of gateway that's opening? Is there a way to stop this? If it truly is negative, if it's just a dead husband from a past life and he doesn't plan on doing anything evil, then I guess she'll just be irritating, but she'll be safe. But if this thing's trying to take over her life, or if it is a demon and is trying to destroy her life, then is there any way that I can stop this. I need to help my mom. This was posted online by someone using the name DY. It's interesting because those are kind of the questions you would have. If it's a demon, obviously you have to get rid of it. Because it wants to destroy humans. That's their main reason for being around. The destruction of humans. If it's a ghost, yeah, you would have to think, is it just that my mom is super irritating because all she'll talk about is him? On the one hand, it could just be that this ghost is totally fine. This is a totally normal spirit. Maybe it is a husband from a past life. It may have no ill intent at all. It's Monica who's overdoing it. It's Monica telling everyone about it and probably pushing it a little far. I mean, Clarence did recommend doing the DMT and the magic mushrooms and all that stuff, but... So, on the face of it, you go, this might just be a spirit that Monica is talking about so much it's irritating. Specifically irritating her daughter who lives with her. And that would be totally fine. I don't really like the idea that Clarence is inside of her head. That kind of is a red flag. I don't like the idea that Clarence is the one to be like, we can really strengthen this connection if you start doing these hallucinogenic drugs. Those kind of make me worried. But other than that, as far as we know, as far as Janet knows, there really hasn't been anything that Clarence has wanted Monica to do that would be life-destroying. What would be really cool is join me. Go into the bathroom. Join me. Slit your wrists. Let the crimson flow into the bathtub. Stuff like that, right? None of that's happening. He's not trying to get her to kill herself or to drown the cat. Then that'll be one more spirit I'll be able to live in or whatever nonsense the crazy Clarence is talking about. So we have all that. It could just be a spirit that is talking to a person. It's dangerous, though, because you don't know. It could be a demon. It does make you think that it's inside of her head now. That sounds more demonic, or at least the ghost with not the best intentions, because you can have perfectly fine conversations with spirits without inviting them into your body. So a little over the top there. A little over the top there if you're an innocent ghost. It could be a demon. And in that case, it does have the hallmarks, the idea of start using these drugs. What if it's a demon? It needs to be eliminated. It needs to be pushed out of the home and locked out for good. Monica's not going to do that. Monica is totally fine with the way her and Clarence's relationship has grown. And I don't want to... This is another reason why I don't tell people if I'm about to do stories on them. I don't want to scare Janet. And in the end of the day, it's not Janet's responsibility. But I thought about this when I was reading the story. Let's put on our conspiracy caps to finish this up. Let's say that Clarence is a demon. The demon is now slowly but surely taking control of Monica's life, taking control of Monica's body. Janet is the only person who is really confronting her mother about it. I know you hate hearing about Clarence, Janet, but... No, Mom, come on, please. I don't want to hear about it anymore. Oh, well, you know what? Maybe you should eat these mushrooms. No, Mom, I'm good. Janet has been the stabilizing force in this household. But now she's gone most of the time. This boyfriend, this wonderful boyfriend who appeared out of nowhere, showed up and swooped Janet away to a home where things are less chaotic. But I wonder if that's part of the plan. I wonder if the boyfriend... Jason, you make people super paranoid on the show. Now I know why you don't message them. Hey, I'm about to cover your story. Stay tuned. What if the boyfriend's in on it? What if the boyfriend is either also demonically possessed or demonically enthralled? What if that guy he thinks like he just saw a pretty girl walking down the street one day and decided to ask her out, and she said yeah, and then it was like kind of this whirlwind thing, and the next thing Janet knows, she's very comfortable at this dude's house. But that guy didn't just see this girl, he got a message in his head. Something pushed him towards her. That's why he chose her. Because the boyfriend thing is a newer development. She recently started dating this very supportive boyfriend. And even if she knew the guy before this, you could also say, like, what if the demon, they have such sinister plans for Monica that it was worth bringing in backup? So you got someone else to date Janet. Whether the boyfriend's demonically possessed, I don't know. That might be a little too far even for me, but demonically influenced to keep Janet away, so whatever Clarence's true plans are for Monica, they can't be stopped. And that's why I say demons hate humans. They hate us. They want to destroy us. Sometimes it might sound like I'm on some weird religious bent about these guys. But no, I mean, that's kind of what their goal is. And just like setting any sort of trap, sometimes it takes working parts. You go, well, Jason, why would they care so much to ruin Monica's life that they'd bring in backup? Why would they even ruin humans' lives to begin with? It's just, that's what they do. It'd be awesome if they stopped, right? It'd be awesome if they're like, you know what, let's take the next 10,000 years off. Let's just kick back, relax, see how this all plays out. I'm wondering if that's what's going on. Again, I hope not. But the timing is very, very interesting, right? When Monica's really starting to descend deeper and deeper and deeper. Like, it was already bad, but it was after Monica's mom died that it really started to go off a cliff. And then even more recent with the drug use and with Clarence entering her body, it's gotten even worse. And like, this would be the perfect time to be like, we got to get Janet off the game board. Let's hook her up with this dude. And it sounds awesome. Janet's like, oh, this is great. You're not even making that connection. We've all done that as well, right? You're dating somebody and you don't like one of their friends. You could say, I don't want you hanging out with that person anymore, but that always backfires. So what I would do is I'd figure out a way to get that person to do something else and not do anything with us, but not make me look bad at the same time. So I might get one of my friends and be like, do you mind dating Mandy? Do you mind dating Mandy? I don't care if you put a ring on her finger. I don't care if you get her to a club tonight. Doesn't matter. I don't want her over here. Here's $20. This was back in the 1990s. $20. Wow. We're going to hit the town. Here's $20. Go do something with Mandy. Get her away. I do not like her. We've all done that. Because I can't come out and say, get rid of Mandy, because then my girlfriend gets all upset. And I can't directly confront Mandy, because then now I'm the bad guy. You go, Jason, you are the bad guy. You're separating a girl from her friend. Yeah, I mean, they can be friends some other time, but not when I'm around. Just go do something. I've done stuff like that. I'm sure you guys have done stuff like that as well. You got to separate. You kind of got to divide and conquer, or in this case, divide. There's no conquering part of it. It's just like, get her out of here. It's the same thing with this, right? You go, why doesn't the demon just kill Janet? Why doesn't the demon just possess Janet? Well, I mean, again, that would be a little overboard in the moment. That might be the end game. Because again, demons want to destroy, and the end of it may be Monica goes nuts and kills herself, or Monica kills Janet, or Monica kills someone else, or Monica just does a bunch of horrible decisions and she's in prison for the next 20, 30 years. But you go, if we kill Janet, like the demons go, if we kill Janet and that's just the cleanest way to do it, it's quite likely that Monica blames Clarence for it and turns to God, starts going to church or something crazy like that. So you do have to be strategic about it. And that's what this feels like. It feels like the boyfriend, quote unquote, came out of nowhere. She doesn't say he came out of nowhere, but he appeared in a sulfurous mist. I don't know. Must be on the other side of town. She just says it was a recent guy who showed up that she started dating, but he could be part of this conspiracy, and he may not even know it. You can be kind of nudged in one direction or another by both the forces of good and the forces of evil. So, I mean, listen, I hope everything works out. I really hope that I'm 100% wrong on this story. and it's just a ghost. It's just a ghost slowly possessing a mom and making her annoying to hang out with. That would be the best solution. I wouldn't want her to be insane, because you could also go, well, there is no ghost, and the mom's slowly losing her mind. That's a terrible ending to the story. It'd be much better that the ghost is actually who he says he is. He's a little overzealous, sure, but it is just a deceased lover coming back, finding his way back in our world. That's the best scenario. The second best scenario is it's a ghost, but his intentions aren't that great. However, he doesn't have plans to actually destroy Monica. Third best scenario is Monica's lost her mind, and she either needs to be on medication or institutionalized. The fourth best, i.e. the worst option, is it's a demon and it has laid out these plans to destroy her. And to do that, it had to get Janet out of the house. So even Janet's romantic partner, her true love that she's with right now, that's all fake too. Imagine your mom doing something atrocious because she's possessed by a demon, going to prison, and at the same time your boyfriend dumps you. You're like, Jason, well, I think she'd be okay with that. She's like, no, on the same day my mom got arrested for manslaughter. Oh, why are you breaking up with me? Please, Tony, come back. You know what I mean, though? Just tragedy upon tragedy. I mean, one's worse, right? One is your mom's going to be in prison for the rest of her life. The other one is your boyfriend breaks up with you. But you know what I mean? Like, that's the type of battle plans that these demons can have. So I really hope it's just a ghost, right? I really just hope it's a ghost that loves to do magic mushrooms and loves Monica. And Monica loves Clarence. That's the best case scenario. The worst case scenario is too horrible for us to even imagine. DeadRabbitRadio@gmail.com is going to be your email address. You can also hit us up at Facebook.com/DeadRabbitRadio. TikTok is @DeadRabbitRadio. Dead Rabbit Radio is the daily paranormal, conspiracy, and true crime podcast. You don't have to listen to it every day, but I'm glad you listened to it today. Have a great weekend, guys.